Welcome back, everybody, to the Podcast Management Academy YouTube channel. My name is Stephanie, and I'm a member of Team PMA. And today we're here to talk all things client testimonials, why they're important, and also how to get them. So let's start with why they're so important. And again, my background has actually always been in business development. So I often look at things from how does this support sales and lead generation? How does a buyer look at this, right? And so social proof and testimonials in particular actually hit on two parts of the actual buying decision. Let me say that again. Social proof and client testimonials hit on the two sides of the buying decision. What I mean when I say the two sides is I'm actually pulling from an old adage that a mentor at the very start of my career often said, which was when people choose to make a buying decision, they first make that decision based on emotion, and then they seek to back it up with logic. So we've got the emotional part of the decision to invest in something and the logic part of making the decision to invest in something. Because spending money can be scary. And for people in particular that are investing in podcast management services, there's a couple different things that can come up for them emotionally in that decision. Number one, maybe you've had someone where they've always DIY'd, done it themselves or done it yourself, but done it themselves for those parts of the process. And giving that up to someone can feel a little scary, right? It's like, well, I've done this way for so long. I know the ins and outs of it. I've spent so much time developing it. Giving that away can be really scary. We've also had a lot of instances where people have unfortunately come from maybe other service providers and didn't have a great experience. So they're certainly going to try it again, otherwise they wouldn't be talking to you. But they're hopeful, and maybe there's a little fear around that. So again, that's the emotional part of a buying decision. Also, for a lot of people, money stuff is very real, right? And we have to kind of hold some space for that. Social proof, testimonials, client stories, they all help to just kind of soothe that element of it, right? I can go and I can read stories of someone who maybe got a lot of time back once they stopped DIYing their podcast and the quality was so much better. Therefore, they felt more proud of the podcast they were putting out. That's that like inspiration and kind of soothing that helps on the emotional side of the buying decision, right? Now, on the logic side, it just proves that, hey, this person has been at this, they're working on shows right now. Me as a potential buyer, I'm not like the first person to try out this kind of unknown thing, right? It creates that sense of safety in the investment. So that's really the why behind it. I also do think there's a real benefit to you as the podcast manager, as the quote unquote salesperson in the scenario, to go into that whole saying of show them, don't tell them. So you could get on your consultations and say, here's the list of things that I do, and it'll save you a lot of time and effort, right? That is very different from saying, well, I think a lot of the processes that my clients have come to me that were taking a lot of their time, a lot of their energy, it was taking them out of their genius zone. They just want to really show up, record, and have the rest of it taken care of. Those are the things that I really help you with. And I'll show you a list here in a second. But what most of my clients tell me is that it has saved them X number of hours per week. It's opened up a lot of mental space for them, and they're able to redirect their focus into the things that they actually want to be focusing on, right? Very, very different approach. That is how you show versus just tell. So that is helpful for you because I think for some people, pitching themselves can be like a little nerve-wracking. Maybe they're just uncomfortable with that. Again, that's where you can rely on those client stories, those testimonials, and those examples of social proof. So how do we collect it? Where do we get it? How do we get it? How do we ask for it? I want you to think of it in terms of two categories, right? On one category, this is where you can actually just ask. And you are perfectly able to, and well within your rights to go ahead and ask somebody for feedback on your services. And I would actually say to them, hey, I'm just bulking up. I do it once a quarter, some client testimonials and some client stories about what it's like to work with me. Would you be comfortable if I sent you an email with 3 questions and just got some of your feedback and answers to that, right? Or hey, I would love to hop on a call with you. Do you mind if I record some of your answers? I would love to add them to my portfolio under my examples of work, right? So you can directly ask for them and record them that way. The other thing that I would remind you to do, and honestly, I will say they're my favorite versions of social proof because I love that real life view of things. If you are on a Zoom call and a client says something that's complimentary, or they share a story and you feel like it's really powerful, or I don't know, they send you an email or a text message or something, and you're like, oh my gosh, I should collect that as a testimonial, a piece of feedback, some social proof, whatever, you can actually ask them, hey, this is so amazing. And it actually speaks to a big question I get when people are talking to me about potential podcast management services. With your permission, obviously, would I be able to screen grab this and maybe share it with others if it comes up? Or, hey, do you mind if I save this? I would love to put it in my portfolio under some client testimonials. I so appreciate the kind words. So, in that regard, we're looking for those opportunities. You don't have to do it every single time someone compliments you. You don't have to go crazy with it. But for the things that really stick out to you, you can ask about that. And again, we talked about the flip side of that, which is just directly asking them. And what we do at PMA, we keep it super, super simple. We do this over in Produce Your Podcast as well, which is essentially kind of the mother company over the Podcast Management Academy. We keep them in a spreadsheet and we have columns. It's like, it's the name, it's the date of it, it's the actual testimonial. And then if we create any graphics or if we have a video or something, we'll link it there. But we keep it super simple. So if that works for you as well, feel free to steal that strategy. I don't think it's necessarily a strategy, but it's definitely a means of organization. So as always, if you have any questions at all, you can drop a comment under this video. You can also join us over in the Facebook group, which we will link in this video description, and ask away because we are here to support you and it is our most favorite thing to do. So thank you for watching and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Thank you so much.